Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each Friday I pick a streaming service and select three previously released films off of it. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you have a nice full weekend full of movies to go check out. And while it's still its own streaming service before it gets folded into Disney Plus, I'm going to be highlighting Hulu here, and let's get started with 1987's Wall Street. Are you looking for a film to make you feel depressed about the world around us that keeps getting people richer and us being poor? Well, we got a movie for you. And that's exactly what Oliver Stone is looking at and commentating on is the great divide of wealth and the greed. For lack of a better word, at least the Gordon Gecko is good. But this is a film that really shines a light on corporate greed, corporate conspiracy, corporate fraud, insider trading, all the underhanded ways that rich people continue to stay rich and get richer at the expense of people a lot less fortunate than them. And this film was a very interesting one as Michael Douglas got nominated for Best Actor, which is ridiculous because he's obviously a supporting character in this movie, but whatever. Wouldn't be the first time category fraud at the Academy Awards, but he is excellent. He is seething. He is like a snake and just gives off that vibe that really captures this intense, intimidating, greedy individual that just wants to keep milking the life and money out of hardworking people. Charlie Sheen is our main character here going into this more dramatic role, which might be a little bit interesting for a lot of people. I know, like, I grew up watching Major League, so that's where, and the Three Musketeers, which is where I knew Charlie Sheen from. But here, he does a really fine job as this young man who's being pulled between Michael Douglas, Gordon Gecko, and his own father, played by Charlie Sheen's own father, Martin Sheen, who is a blue collar union guy at an airport and being pulled between that greed to make money on Wall Street and just the temptation of this big finance guy lifestyle. You have the Daryl Hannah character who's alluring and pulling him into this lifestyle. You have the likes of John C. McGinley and Hal Holbrook thrown in there in supporting roles. The cast is very strong. There's plenty of tension and twists and turns, claustrophobic, intense moments. There's a confrontation between the Sheens on screen, and it just pops, and you just feel so badly in that moment for Bud turning on his father and lining up with Gordon Gecko and all the horrible underhanded things that you see here. This is a great commentary on the fraudulent practices of corporations and such an interesting case study of business for sure on the silver screen, years before we got Wolf of Wall Street. Next up, we're going to turn things back a little bit further, back to 1963, and this is a prison break war film. It is The Great Escape, and this is from director John Sturges, who made great films like this, The Magnificent Seven, Bad Day at Black Rock, and so many more. And this film is stacked to the gills with incredible performers from obviously the iconic Steve McQueen, who's Hilt, the Cooler King. You have James Gardner, Richard Attenborough, Charles Bronson, James Donald, Donald Pleasance, James Colburn, David McCallum, and so many others that fill out this fantastic cast of a few American soldiers, a bunch of British soldiers, the Germans. And this film is a sprawling epic that builds up some great characters. Henley and Hiltz, Gardner and McQueen are big standouts. McQueen and his big motorcycle stunt work towards the end of the film, that chase is exhilarating. You have all these characters being set up, and the music just really brings a lot of emotion to the table as well from composer Elmer Bernstein. And you have this whole build up of setting up these characters and then them trying to tunnel out and the tension of like being this dark claustrophobic place, all the timing, all of the roadblocks, and then the whole third act of the film, all these men on the run trying to escape, avoiding the SS and German soldiers and all of these things. So many great setups, so many devastating moments, the character connections, whether it's between McQueen and Agnes Lenny's Ives the Mole, or the beautiful friendship that builds between Gardner and Donald Pleasant's character Blythe. And Charles Bronson is fantastic. Richard Attenborough, the Big X, who is leading this whole charge. The character work is fantastic. These performances are impressive. The action, the thrills, the production design, all of it coming together, delivering such an impactful experience. It is such a wondrous film, and it's a very harrowing experience, and there's some big emotional moments. But this is all based off of true events, based off of Paul Brickell's book. And this is some really great old school Hollywood type of filmmaking. And Sturgis really knew how to make them back then for sure. And lastly, we're gonna head to 1975 for an adventure drama war film, The Man Who Would Be King. And this is based off of Rudyard Kipling's story, adapted by John Huston, directed by John Huston, of one of the more legendary filmmakers, whether it's The Treasure of Sierra Madre or Asphalt Jungle or Maltese Falcon, and all these films. And you have this dynamic duo here in this film of Sean Connery and Michael Caine, who play Daniel Dravit and Peachy Carnahan, these two men who in 1880s India, they're former British soldiers, decide to set themselves up as kings in Kafiristan, a land where no white man has set foot since Alexander the Great. And this is this sprawling adventure of snowy mountains and survival, and it has some good humor, but also some thrilling action and twists and turns. The chemistry between Connery and Kane is so fantastic. They make such a dynamic duo. And also, Sean Connery's facial hair is peak and legit. Absolutely love it. And just their dynamic and this fool's errand of them thinking that they could come in as white dudes and just rule over this land and their comeuppance and all of these things. There's so many great adventure elements, the acting of these two, and you even throw in like Christopher Plummer plays Rudyard Kipling, who appears in the story as well. And this is some old school kind of filmmaking, definitely towards the end of John Huston's career, but he still captures that great scale that he was able to do with so many of his famous films that he did over the course of his career. And this is such a wonderful, thrilling adventure. And Rudyard Kipling's writing, certainly he was able to capture a lot of thrilling and engaging stories set in India, and how this film really captures the people and the environment. It's sprawling in terms of its different settings and all these set pieces. It's one of those films that probably doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but is such a fun adventure. And even if it's just for Sean Connery and Michael Caine, it's certainly worth a watch. But that's a wrap on another episode of the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. Let's do a little summation. We're going to head over to Hulu this week, and you can check out 1987's Wall Street, 1963's The Great Escape, and 1975's The Man Who Would Be King. If make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite film about business? What's your favorite war film? And what's your favorite story based off of Kipling's work? Is I'm assuming many people, it's like, is it the Jungle Book? Make sure to like and the follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. There's so many great shows with different interests. If you want to be part of the crew as a guest on one of these shows or hosting your own podcast, make sure to reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out Highflyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the streaming wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.